Hello, I'm Angus here at the Bureau of Meteorology. This is a severe weather video for severe weather impacts from a low pressure area crossing southern Australia. And right up front, I want to say if you're looking for information about Western Australia, which has been hit by this weather system the hardest so far, we have an entirely separate severe weather video focused just on the west, which you can find on our website, social media or YouTube pages. This video here is going to focus on the impacts of that same weather system as it slides through southern and eastern parts of the country over the coming few days. So let's dive right into it, looking at the synoptic map where we see this really broad low pressure area in the Great Australian Bight extending quite an influence over the country. The blue rainfall here stretches from the east coast right back to parts of central Australia. It is really extensive, but for the most part in the next few days, while a lot of places will get some rain associated with this weather system, the rain isn't forecast to be heavy and we don't forecast a significant flood risk in most areas. What could be more significant than the wet weather will be the windy weather. So we'll play through this loop again, focusing just on the wind. And for this map here, I really want you to draw your eye to the orange, red, and even purple areas on the map. Those shows the regions with the strongest winds associated with the atmospheric flow around the low. For Monday, the strongest winds are anticipated to be around South Australia, initially in western parts, but as we progress through the day, we'll see that wind push into Adelaide and eastern parts of the state. Then tonight and into Tuesday morning, strong winds into parts of New South Wales, as well as parts of Victoria. For the most part, Tasmania will avoid the strongest of the winds. Gradually through Tuesday, we see an easing trend to this map. Still quite a windy day on Tuesday, but the areas of very stronger winds, the oranges and the reds, are just a couple of regions left by late on Tuesday. Because of the strong wind in the next 24 to 36 hours, we've got a number of severe weather warnings in play. I'll go through them fairly quickly, otherwise this video will become extremely long. But for South Australia, almost all southern areas are in warning for damaging wind gusts, mostly on Monday. For Adelaide, it's likely to be Monday evening, pushing into early Tuesday morning where the winds are strongest. 90 to 100 km/h wind gusts are possible. Across the state border into Victoria, we've also got some really strong winds coming Monday evening, pushing through the night into early Tuesday morning. The winds should start to subside around sunrise on Tuesday and gradually slacken off after that. The warning area includes parts of the Otway Coast, the Mornington and Bellarine Peninsulas, northern suburbs of Melbourne, and right up through the northeastern ranges. And finally, across one more state border into New South Wales, a couple of regions here, parts of the Snowy Mountains, southern tablelands, but also parts of the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, including the likes of Katoomba and Oberon. These places could see strongest winds on Tuesday, up to 100 km/h. There is a separate or extra warning on top of that for the very highest peaks of the Snowy Mountains, where we could see wind gusts up to 125 km/h, and we could also see a little bit of snow, and that combination of really strong winds and snow leads to low visibility and blizzard-like conditions up in the mountains. So anyone at those highest elevations, absolutely please do take care. Through all of these warning areas across southern and eastern parts, we could see some of these key weather impacts which just crop up time and time again when we have winds of this intensity. Damage to trees, pushing them down onto houses or cars, happens all the time. Hazardous driving conditions, either because of things getting thrown onto the roads, or if you're driving a high-sided vehicle or a motorbike, those strong winds can steer you off course as well. And we will often see power outages with winds this strong, especially when they cover such a broad area as they are this week. So winds will be a significant factor, but not the only factor, particularly for people who live on or near the coastline, because we will be seeing the combination of some really large waves with some abnormally high tidal levels along some parts of the South Australia and Western Victorian coastline. So we've got another round of warnings for those coastal areas here. This is a coastal hazard warning. This is in place for Monday and Tuesday, but primarily it is the Tuesday afternoon high tide when we expect the water level to be the highest across the stretch of coast. It's extensive too. The Nullarbor coast past Ceduna, the York and Eyre peninsulas, the Adelaide coast, we're down to the Limestone coast and southern parts of South Australia, across the border into Western Victoria and the Otway coast up to the southern portion of the Bellarine Peninsula. All of these coastlines are under warning for these potential abnormally high tides, likely to be pushing through on Tuesday afternoon. We could see some damage to the coastline where those waters are high and those waves are powerful. We certainly could see some flooded roads, car parks, walkways, walkways, bike paths along the ocean there, and potentially in a couple of spots where it's worse, we could see some water pushing into and onto property. So this is a pretty significant weather event for southern and eastern parts of the country, particularly through Monday and Tuesday. It will certainly be easing off after that. So across the next couple of days, stay up to date with the latest forecasts and warnings on the Bureau website and the BOM weather app. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and stay safe.